Hello, welcome to One Small Town podcast number 3. I trust that we are live both on YouTube. This is the YouTube camera, and this is the Facebook camera, which is operating from my phone. So, my name is Michael Tillinger, and welcome back to another 1 hour discussion and sharing information about the One Small Town initiative, answering some questions, and dealing with all the interesting and exciting areas of this amazing initiative that is just exploding around the world. So, last week we spoke about very important aspects that I'm not going to go through again. We will try and deal with brand new subjects and topics every week. And whatever we don't finish the 1 week, we'll then continue that and roll it over into the following week. So I can see it's telling me my connection on my Facebook is slow. I hope that's going to change. In any case, we're live on both YouTube and Facebook. So hopefully one of them will be stable. I've had to travel about an hour to a friend's house where there is stable internet, fast and stable internet, because in the little town that I live in, it is virtually impossible to get good quality, fast and stable internet. So this is now the third week that I'm doing the One Small Town podcast, and it's the third venue that I've had to use because I've been traveling, I'm on the road, dealing with many different things. So this is a lovely background of some snowy mountains behind me. I've made myself comfortable in these lovely lounge, and they've retreated to the garage and doing their stuff there, so they leave me in peace while I do this live podcast. So this week, what are we going to discuss? Okay, I'm going to talk to you about Infinity tokens. And the reason I'm doing this is because I've had a number of emails from people that are really fascinated and interested in the Infinity tokens. And again, the reason why many people are interested in this because they see it as an alternative and they're trying to compare it to cryptocurrencies. Now, I'm going to talk about cryptocurrencies and comparing that to Infinity tokens and where the differences are, and really highlighting the importance and the absolutely amazing aspects of the Infinity token. So Infinity token in great detail as much as I can. I'm going to come back to membership. I'm going to talk more about memberships, One Small Town memberships, and all the things around it, the benefits of memberships and so forth. Remember this, okay? And I can't repeat this enough. One Small Town is not a compulsory thing. So if we start One Small Town in a specific town, not everybody is obliged to join us. Not everybody is forced to join the One Small Town initiative. It is a voluntary initiative. You choose if you want to join. So those who don't join don't benefit. Those who do benefit from everything that we do collectively. And I'll discuss those benefits again because I don't think we went through it in proper detail last week. We'll talk about ambassadors. I'm going to cover the absolutely critical role of One Small Town ambassadors. And it is now at this point in time of our evolution that the ambassadors are playing and are going to play a very, very critical role in the successful launches and mushrooming of the One Small Town initiative around the world. So we'll talk about that and the ambassadors. I'm going to talk about cornerstone businesses, cornerstone projects and cornerstone businesses, which are critical to the success of One Small Town and the many different aspects and the community upliftment programs that are obviously part of the One Small Town initiative. I'll hopefully, if there's enough time, we'll talk about benefits to investors. Why would investors want to invest into One Small Town businesses if they can only ever have 30% of the profit share? And we'll unpack that, and that is then connected to the investor token and our own funding mechanism that we have come up with, which we believe is absolutely brilliant, and it's taken a long time to find the easiest and the route of least resistance. Navigating all the different legal obstacles and hurdles in the way. The moment you try and um, create an investment opportunity for your members, it becomes a bloody nightmare because of the financial and legal structures that have been put in place through our corporate structures and the stranglehold of governments and their corporate structures that have pretty much been launched in all countries. So it's become very, very difficult to launch certain things, especially if you're offering an investment opportunity and a participation in the benefits of specific businesses. So we've come up with a wonderful mechanism that I believe is going to grow and mushroom and explode. Again, everything we do at One Small Town is literally counterintuitive to what happens in mainstream capitalism. And the main reason is because everything we do for the benefit of the community, because we do it together and we all share from it. And everything is transparent. No one can hide anything. And in many ways, that flies in the face of cold, hardcore capitalism that in many ways has destroyed the world. I don't want to sound like I'm a communist, because that's not what this is at all. In fact, I think I mentioned it last week. We need to draw the distinction between contributionism is what we're doing in One Small Town, where people contribute their skills and talents towards the greatest benefit of their community, themselves, their families, their future, making sure that we create a solid, stable foundation, filled with food security, great education, technology, everything we need for ourselves and want for ourselves and wish for ourselves in our towns and communities. Everything is possible if we just do it together. If we try and do it alone in the current structure and the current socioeconomic system and the dog eat dog and the rat race, if we do it alone, try and win and try and beat everybody, that's not a solution. So One Small Town, I believe that's why I've been doing it for so long, coming up to 2 decades now. We believe that this is a solution for all the problems we face. And in fact, if there's time, I'll sneak it in during this podcast or at some stage, how the One Small Town initiative, over the years that I've been talking about it and dealing with it and doing the many, many workshops around the world. If you've attended any of those workshops, you'll probably be aware of this. But I always used to ask, the people, come up with any problem that you think is insurmountable, any problem that you believe we cannot fix as a society, as people in our towns. And people would write down the problems and that we don't think we can fix. And at the end of the workshop, what I would do, I would make people take out the little piece of paper from their pocket and come up front and read the question into the microphone. And I must say, that was always one of my favorite parts of all the Matrix thinking, the kind of way we think, and because that's just automatically what happens, right? Because we come through the system, we come through the schooling, the college, university, the work, and trying to start a business and all the hurdles and red tape and bureaucracy that we have to deal with all the time. That is mind-numbing, nonsensical crap most of the time, just for the purpose of control. It's got nothing to do with helping and benefits and none of that. It's all to do with control, right? So that somebody up there remains in control. And what would happen is, by the time the people would take out a piece of paper and read the question after the whole, day, full day or a 2-day or a weekend workshop, and they would read the question, everybody would start to laugh and giggle because their mind was already reprogrammed. And they were now approaching it from a One Small Town perspective, thinking as a One Small Town member, realizing that our objective is to solve the problems, to solve the hurdles and the problems that we face, and come up with creative solutions and alternatives for what is currently restricting us and preventing us from achieving our goals and achieving our dreams. And it was always one of the most wonderful and uplifting and satisfying moments for me over many, many years when I see the people get it, when the penny drops for them. And I trust, hopefully, you're one of those people already. If the penny hasn't dropped for you yet, don't worry, it will drop for you sooner or later. There comes a moment. Everyone, like I said, everyone has their tipping point, and something might happen in your life, and you suddenly go, oh my God, I see what he means. I see what you mean. And then from there, it's all downhill, it's all easy, and everybody understands what we need to do together collectively in cooperation and collaboration. So those are where I go of benefits, investors, investor tokens, and then finally the gallery, the One Small Town gallery. I might as well just start with that. Well, since it's the last point, just to give you a quick update, we have now initiated the virtual One Small Town virtual gallery test phase. We launched that on Monday. We are uploading a number of works of art. We are testing the payment gateway. We are testing the everything to do with the ease of upload of artists logging in, signing up to be a member, then applying to be an artist, and then loading their works of art onto the platform, onto the gallery, making sure that that whole process works, the payment gateways work, everything to do with the shipping and packaging, all of that. So we're going to spend the next 10 days or so working on that, making sure everything works. And if everything works, including, by the way, the auction function, because the way it's going to work is that the best works of art every month, our curator, the One Small Town Art Gallery curator, will choose. Obviously, it's a subjective thing, so this will remain a subjective thing based on our curator's perception. We'll choose what we believe are the best works of art, and those will be featured in our online gallery auction. So that's going to be a monthly event, and that's also then going to roll over into the art galleries in the small towns when the One Small Town art galleries launch as a physical art gallery in each of the small towns as they come online and they start to work as the people launch their One Small Towns. And so we're going to test it, make sure everything works, that the auction site works, the bidding works, the starting date, the closing date of the auction, etc. You can imagine what I've just shared with you is a huge coding exercise. So we didn't buy a package from somebody. We didn't buy an existing online coding package. We built everything from scratch. So we own and control the entire blockchain. One Small Town IT management platform belongs to One Small Town. As I said, it's a very, very safe and secure, highly backed up server network that we have, because we are not doing something small. We're doing something very, very big. We're doing something that's never been done before. So we've got to make sure that it's a safe and secure environment on all levels. So the art gallery is making great progress. If everything goes well, we expect to then launch it to the public with the first auction of the chosen works of art on the 2nd of December. Now, the final point is, why is the One Small Town Art Gallery so different from any other art gallery? Is because we're setting it up so that our artists that log their work different from any other art gallery. Is because we're setting it up so that our artists that log their work, that load their work onto our platform, the One Small Town Virtual Art Gallery, or the physical art gallery, that ends up all the same thing in the end. All these artists will turn their works of art into an NFT in the process, and it will remain on the platform so that anyone, anywhere, at any stage can make an offer to the new owner or the current owner, make an offer on that work of art. And obviously the owner of that work of art has a choice to either accept the offer or decline the offer based on what the owner's intentions are. That they buy the work of art as an investment? Do they buy it because they love it and they want to hang it up in their lounge, never to sell it? It all depends. There are investors in art for all kinds of reasons. And so the work of art itself becomes the NFT. And every time it is resold on the One Small Town platform, the virtual art gallery or the physical art gallery, the artists gets a 10% royalty from the sale on. Artists will no longer sell their work of art and never see any benefits from it ever again. So artists are now going to become like authors and musicians. So they continue receiving royalties from the future sales of their works of art. So this is a huge shift, and I believe a change in the way that we treat artists. I'm talking fine artists and sculptors and those kind of artists, not musicians or actors or those kind of artists. So this is huge. And this is why it's taken so long, because the coding and the programming is intense and very, very intricate. So I trust you understand, if you saw me talking about it a year ago, I was naively, I believe that we are very, very close to launch the art gallery, and I got very excited about it, only to realize that we only have so many coders because we only have so much money. So we can only pay so much money every month to our coding team, right? So they have to choose, what are they going to work on now? So whatever we choose to work on means that everything else is left while we're focusing on that particular part of the platform. So exciting news. The Once More Town Art Gallery is going to be launched very soon. So now let's go to the first thing that I wanted to start with, and that's the Infinity token. Because as I said earlier, that I've had a number of emails, people asking about the Infinity token, how it works, why is it different from cryptocurrency, and so forth. So let me take you for as long as it takes now. Hopefully it won't be an hour, because I still want to get to some of the other things. Why the Infinity token is so incredible, is so unique, is so different from any other token or community token or cryptocurrency or anything like that. First of all, let's deal with cryptocurrencies. And please keep an open mind all the time. I might make here every now and then, I might make a sort of a sweeping statement, that sort of a general statement that might not necessarily apply to all cryptocurrencies, but generically and generally within the crypto world and the crypto mindset. Now, the crypto mindset has become a very interesting mind virus. Like we have the woke mind virus that we're trying to destroy, that has destroyed many millions of people's lives at this stage. I believe that the crypto mind virus has also captured a lot of people, because people have become crypto crazy, and they believe that crypto is a solution for all things. Blockchain certainly is a solution for many things, but that doesn't mean that crypto is. And the reason for that is because if you look into the crypto world, there are thousands and thousands of cryptocurrencies now. It's insane. And they're all trying to, it's the crypto rat race in many ways. They're all trying to compete against each other and become the next Bitcoin. Now, keep in mind that when Bitcoin was launched, and once again, I'm going to repeat myself because many of these things are necessary and worthy of repetition so that it sinks in. Remember, repetition is the best way of learning and memorizing and remembering things. So crypto, when Bitcoin was launched, me included and all my friends, we are so excited. We believe that finally we're going to have an alternative way of exchanging things that is away and outside of the fiat currency system. In other words, money. Fiat currency, if you don't know what that means, fiat currency means the money systems, the dollars, the pounds, the euros, the yen, and the different currencies in each country and around the world. The fiat currencies that literally mean nothing. It's just some logos printed on a piece of paper. Now, that's a sweeping statement, right? Don't jump up and down and try and, contradict me and argue on this, because we could have a long separate discussion about money and how money is created, how money is issued around the world, and why it can never solve our problems the way that the central banking system is set up right now. But that's a whole nother rabbit hole. So most people believed, I was one of them, that finally we had something that could take us away from fiat currencies and give us a means of exchange that is not controlled by the banks, that's not controlled by the government. And we can start becoming a little bit more free with who we choose to deal with, who we choose to trade with and exchange across the world, across borders, because that's what crypto does, right? Unfortunately, it didn't do that, because Bitcoin became an investment opportunity and became an greedy investor's chase. Look what's happened to it right now. What is it? I think it was $90,000 I looked last time. I mean, it's insane what has happened. And because there's a scarcity that was created around it. I can't remember if it was 20 million or 12 million Bitcoins that were originally issued. It doesn't matter. The point is that cryptocurrencies are launched by people that ultimately want to benefit themselves and make a lot of money for themselves by launching those cryptocurrencies. There might be some that are doing it for altruistic and communal reasons or humanitarian reasons, but the way that crypto is set up right now, if it is a cryptocurrency that is traded on the stock exchanges, if it's traded on the open markets and so forth, it can never help the world. It can never help humanity. It can never help you and me in an ongoing way that it doesn't come under attack by people that want to attack, that want to try and crash it, and so forth. So at any stage, any one of these cryptocurrencies that are traded on the open markets can be crashed by infiltrators, instigators, greedy traders who have some scheme or whatever. This is really important to understand. And quite frankly, I believe that the entire crypto world is a very, very dangerous rabbit hole to go down for anyone. And this is why the One Small Town Infinity Token was created, because we needed to find some form of realizing or proving, that's the word I'm looking for, proving, some form of proving that our members, the One Small Town members, have gone and contributed their 3 hours every week or every day or whenever, once a week minimum. Remember, that's the One Small Town fundamental pledge that you make as a member, is that you pledge to contribute 3 hours a week of your time towards one of the projects or businesses in your town, in your community. It's got to be in your town and your community, because that's where you are a member, right? So that's what you pledge. And we had to find a way to prove that somebody would arrive at the bakery or at the shoe factory or at the dairy or cleaning the streets or helping the orphans or taking the elderly to the hospital as their chore for the week or for their 3 hours or whatever it is, right? So we need to know that somebody has actually gone and done that job and done that work for their community, that they've contributed their time to the community. So we started to look at, what do we do? Do we work with a punch card system, the old style clocking in, where you arrive for a shift at the factory or at your office and there's a clock that you have to put the punch card in? And do the people then take the punch card to an office somewhere, or do they go and take the punch card at the end of the month to the One Small Town store and redeem their goods and benefits? And we're going to come to benefits. What are the benefits to members? So remember, we're not going to skip that. We're going to go through it in detail in this session. And then we realized that that's an old system. Punch cards, that's such an old dinosaur system. We've got to come up with something new and better and space age, right? This is Elon Musk kind of thinking. We got to think way out of the box. And that's when we realized we've got to start using the technology that's available. It's free to everyone. It's free for us to be able to use it. We don't have to buy the technology from anyone, like barcoding systems, and you have to order barcodes and etc. So the QR code system and QR code scanners and readers became the obvious thing. But then we realized that when you go and contribute your 3 hours, you've actually created value. You've done 3 hours of work, and it's got to be, there's value in that. The value is going to come back to you in the other benefits, in the profit share from the businesses and in the basket of food and goods at the end of every month. But at the same time, why don't we create that turn that 3 hours into a community token? And that's when the Infinity Token was born. So it now becomes an additional value and a benefit to our members. And because you have just worked, or any member that has just contributed their 3 hours to their community, they've created that Infinity Token by contributing those 3 hours. So the Infinity Token is a true asset-backed token that's owned by the community. And this is the most important thing. We can never run out of these tokens. And the reason I'm saying that is because I've had a number of crypto-minded people email me and ask me, and this is not the first time, so I've been through this many times before, because you will see if you look at the white paper on our website, the Infinity Token white paper, you'll see that we issued 24 million Infinity tokens, right? 24 million Infinity tokens were issued as the original tokens. That doesn't mean that that's going to stop there. No, those are tokens that were issued for us to sell as seed funding capital to help us raise money for our office and the One Small Town office, which is at the moment a very hungry beast, because as we grow, as we become more successful, we have to get more and more experts in to do this and do that, whether it's IT or internet stuff or our contracts. Our legal contracts are costing us a bloody fortune. The lawyers that we have to use are very, very expensive. And you can imagine we have to use the best lawyers we can find, and the best lawyers we can find are not necessarily always humanitarian. So we have to pay them. So the more successful we are, the more it costs us. So those first 24 million tokens were issued as seed capital to help fund the One Small Town office. So we keep selling those, and those funds help to fund and run our office. The most important thing is that those tokens are launched at $1, if you remember, if you don't know this. So those tokens were launched at $1, and we created an algorithm that calculates the value of that token as time goes by, how the token grows in value based on the number of members that join us and the number of 3-hour sessions that they contribute towards their community. So it's quite a simple and yet complex algorithm. So that calculates the value of the Infinity token. So the Infinity token can't crash. It'll only crash if the entire One Small Town initiative crashes and stops working. And yet, if you have a wallet with Infinity tokens, you might find that if that should ever happen, which it won't, but if that should ever happen, that means that the tokens that are in the marketplace are the only tokens available, and then they'll become like Bitcoin, highly sought after. But that's not what we're going for. We're not going for greedy investors trying to maximize a profit out of a community token like they've tried to do with Bitcoin. Our community token is going to continue on and on and on. So once we have sold, so let me come back to those 24 million tokens that we've issued for those people that are confused by that. This is crypto thinking, right? Remember, everything we're doing is upside down. Our tokens were not launched to make money for people and make money for investors and speculators. The Infinity token is launched as a means of exchange for One Small Town members to trade and exchange, not as some sort of form of investment and trying to make as much profit out of as possible, buy some, then sell it. And no, our tokens are there because we earn them by contributing our 3 hours. So once the first 24 million tokens have been sold, and I think that the last value of the token is just below $5, if I'm not mistaken. So it started at $1 and it's grown beautifully, organically, based on the number of members we've grown and all the work that they've been putting into all the different activities they've been involved in. So it is now sitting, I think, at $4.95 or something like that. I should have checked, but you can check it yourself. Just go online and you'll see the latest Infinity token price. So it's not me that decides what the price of the token is. As somebody said somewhere, Tellinger just sits there and he just makes up a price. No, that's absolute BS. I don't have anything to do with the price of the value of the token. It's the algorithm that we created very carefully, very strategic thinking. However, this is the interesting twist and the difference between the Infinity token and any other cryptocurrency out there. So, first of all, we as members create the tokens. Our 3 hours contribution is the thing that creates the token, right? And then that token gets put into your digital wallet on your One Small Town membership account, and you can do with it what you want. And we'll discuss the incredible potential and possibilities with that, why that is so important. and why it's so versatile. It'll become incredibly versatile in time to come. So what we did is we looked at what is the realistic value of an Infinity token. So what does the token represent? The token represents 3 hours of your time. So now we've got something to evaluate. So what is 3 hours of labor worth in the different countries of the world? So we looked at that, and we looked at the value of 3 hours of work and realized that that's actually a very simple and obvious way to value the token, the Infinity token, because it's worth 3 hours of labor. And since we're using the American dollar, the USA dollar, as our base currency, we decided to work in dollars and rate it in dollars. So we looked at the minimum wages in the USA, from the small towns and the different industries and so forth, and it came to whatever it was, and 3 hours of that was like $39.95 or something like that, very close to $40. So we then decided to round it off and valuate one Infinity token at its launch position, at its launch date, because since then the minimum wages may have gone up. But at the time of the launch of the Infinity token, which was launched at $1, the true value of the Infinity token, 3 hours of your time, is actually $40. I trust that makes very simple sense. So the way the algorithm has been set up is that the value of the token is going to keep growing until we have 40,000 members, either around the world, and each of those 40,000 members are contributing 3 hours a week towards their community, or towards their businesses, towards their projects. At that point, the value of the Infinity token is going to be $40. So that's how the algorithm was structured. I hope it's making sense, and how completely different this is from any other cryptocurrency. So at this stage, the maximum value of the Infinity token that we can imagine is going to be $40. So the only time that you can speculate and hope to make a profit on the Infinity token is if you buy them now, right? While they're still $4. So all the people that bought, I think we sold 1 million tokens in the first 6 weeks. And that money was used for all the office expenses and so forth. And so every month we continue using the funds that come in, but we need a lot more than what we're selling at the moment. So this is why I keep saying, become a patron and help support our office. But what people don't realize is that the only time you can speculate and make money on the Infinity token is now, while it's still available. Those 24 million tokens. We have now, I think we've sold 1.5 million tokens now. So there's only 22.5 million tokens left. And whatever the price is that you buy it at, it's going to keep going up until it reaches $40. So the people that bought the original tokens at $1, they're literally going to make 40 times as much as they bought the token at. And the reason I say that, because now I'm sounding like a speculator, right? And an investor. Yeah, a little bit. But this is the only time that the leverage is available. It's because once those first 24 million tokens are sold, we as the One Small Town office aren't going to have any more tokens to sell. So at that point, the only tokens available that will be available for sale will be from existing members that have tokens that they choose to sell. And if our members decide that they don't want to sell their tokens because it's not worth it, then there'll be no Infinity tokens available. And then you'll have to sit and wait until somebody wants to sell their tokens. Once you have them, you can trade, share, exchange, everything that we do in the One Small Town community. It's going to build towards that. So I hope that this is making sense a little bit more, because I know that crypto heads and people that are in crypto constantly think that we're dealing with the crypto. We're not. We're dealing with an asset-backed community token that is created to benefit the members of the community, not to benefit speculators and investors, some of whom may have nefarious and ill intent trying to possibly undermine or crash our success, or crash the value of the token. That can't happen. And keep in mind, you can never lose your tokens, whether it's Infinity tokens or any of the future investor tokens that we will be launching. I'll talk about those hopefully today still. And so you can never lose your tokens because they literally go into your digital wallet, which is part of your membership account. So it's like having a bank account, except this is your One Small Town membership account, and attached to it is your digital wallet that holds all your tokens, starting with the Infinity tokens. And as time goes by and you as a One Small Town member wants to invest in other future businesses that we're launching because you like the business and you'd like to have a little profit share from that business down the line, you'll be able to buy tokens from every business that we launch, investor tokens associated with the funding of that specific business. So, and I'll talk about that because that's a separate and a very interesting and exciting development that we've accidentally stumbled upon. So I hope I've explained that well enough that it makes sense. I can't believe we're already 36 minutes into this and I've only dealt with the tokens. So, but that's good because it's it's important that we deal. I feel that sometimes when you do videos and you get all self-conscious in the video and whatever, and sometimes videos don't work. And I like this live format because it keeps me on my toes and it makes me think and shoot from the hip and be able to deal with things as they come to mind. And it's live and it goes out and that's what it is. So that's what we're getting here. Okay, we've dealt with the tokens. We've dealt with the algorithms, the difference between cryptocurrencies and Infinity tokens. I hope I made that clear. Keep in mind, maybe I didn't say this. Infinity tokens are never, ever sold on the open stock exchanges and the open crypto markets. No, they are part of our private One Small Town membership. They're only sold to One Small Town members and only traded between One Small Town members on the One Small Town platform. Or you can send them with your digital wallet, straight from your digital wallet to any other member's digital wallet. Nobody has any privy to that. That's your private thing. And no one knows about your private trading with any other One Small Town member. So you can share and trade and exchange anything with any other member, and only the two of you will be privy to that, right? And this is a spectacular thing, and it works, by the way. So that's why I always say, first thing that anyone should do that joins One Small Town and is excited about this and wants to grow with us, first thing you should do, become a member. Go to the website, onesmalltown.org, become a member, and then buy a bunch of tokens. Go log into your membership account, buy the Infinity tokens while they're so cheap. Whether you like this or not, or it doesn't matter what people think, as we grow, the value is going to go up and up and up and up, and it will hit $40 at one stage. What's going to happen after that is a good question, because that's blue sky stuff. We'll see what happens after that, what we collectively decide to do with that price. But ultimately, it should stay at a price that it reflects 3 hours of labor, right? So I suspect that maybe again, I'm shooting from the hip now, because the hourly wages, minimum wage, hourly wages, minimum and maximum wage, the balance between that keeps going up. So if we track the value of the Infinity token based on 3 hours of labor, then I guess the value of the Infinity token should be going up. Now, again, I'm just speculating here. I don't know if that's what we decide to do with it, because we're going to have to make a decision. So let me not go down that route, but it's an interesting thought. So you can see how this is a living thing that we're doing here. It keeps growing, keeps evolving. We haven't even thought about that, because what happens then? Because we're still trying to get the foundation done, which we now have. We're now growing the first small towns. We're getting people used to contributing their 3 hours, used to getting their Infinity tokens, used to feeling part of a global network and a group of motivated people in their towns, in their communities, that get together and they get stuff done, right? We get off our asses and we get stuff done. So that's how One Small Town becomes a success. It's not going to be a success if you sit on your backside and you keep criticizing everyone, criticizing me because I didn't do this right, I didn't do that right. Of course we don't get things right. We screw up all the time, but then we fix it and we come back and we're better and we're stronger. That's what we do. And I've been doing this for nearly 2 decades, as I said. And boy, are we stronger now than we were 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and almost 20 years ago. We are so much stronger and wiser now. And that's what makes it so exciting. So, right, get your Infinity tokens now while they're still cheap. I tell you, I'm sorry, I'm digressing again. I'm so excited for all those people that bought those 1 million tokens or whatever it was that we sold in that first batch for $1 each. I'm so excited for those people because they're just going to, at some stage, when this thing flips over, remember, we're still building, the momentum is still building, the foundation is still building. There'll come a time when the demand for the tokens is going to be much higher than the existing supply of the tokens. And that's when the people that bought the Infinity tokens are really going to benefit, because they're going to be selling their tokens at a price that is so much higher than $1. So, right. So membership. So this is really what I'm leading up to. So after Infinity tokens, my next subject to cover with you in this podcast is One Small Town memberships. And that's what I said. First thing anyone should do when you discover One Small Town, sign up as a member, then log into your membership accounts, click on My Wallet. You go into My Wallet and you click on Buy Tokens and buy as many Infinity tokens as you can afford. Okay, and just leave it there. It's a investment into the near to medium future. Because we don't know how quickly this is going to take off. We know it's going to take off, and also with the confidence now that some of the technology that I mentioned that we're developing that's about to be released by our team, and that technology is going to generate funds for this One Small Town office. So we're no longer dependent on funding. So we're getting very, very close. We're still very, very dependent on funding right now. So don't stop your support. Buy Infinity tokens, because that helps you fund our office. So you're actually funding your own future success by making sure that we can continue doing what we're doing. So that's an interesting, I guess, logic. Why should I buy Infinity tokens? Because the more tokens we sell now, the more financially stable we are now, the more we can do, the more coders we can get, the quicker we can build this, the quicker we can launch our technology, and the quicker we can stabilize the One Small Town office, at which point we're no longer going to need funding. And this thing is just going to roll, and we'll be able to launch as many small towns as we pretty much can imagine around the world, in every country imaginable. Okay. Once again, remember, doesn't matter what country you're in. I'm not launching it. You'll be launching it in your town, in your community, with your people that get together, that plan this meticulously. This is not a haphazard, and I keep talking about hippies growing food on a piece of land. I'd say that with no disrespect. I love hippies. Many of my friends are hippies. I guess I keep repeating that too. But we've got to do this properly, right? We've got to do this with people that are driven, that understand that, blood, sweat, and tears makes things work, that, getting up early in the morning and delivering on what your daily chores are creates success. That's how we create food security. That's how we create health benefits. It's how we create businesses that make good profits with products that are innovative and inventive, and that are distributed all over the world and sold all over the world and make huge amounts of profits for our communities, and with all the other benefits that we are creating for ourselves in our communities. So that's how we do this. Okay, now I think I'm rambling a little bit. Let's get to the membership and benefits. So the key thing about One Small Town is that the members must feel at all time that they are benefiting. The moment our members feel that they're not benefiting, then this whole thing is a waste of time. It's not going to work. People must feel, first of all, the first benefit is simple. It's a spiritual thing. Okay, now keep in mind that the One Small Town initiative is a physical action that is driven by a deeply spiritual calling. So to do this and make this happen. It is a beautiful melting pot of people that are highly conscious, that are driven by some sort of a spiritual and a conscious calling. And by spiritual, I mean the beautiful blend between spirituality and religion. There's a beautiful place where the two meet. And sometimes the extreme spiritualists don't realize it, and the extremely religious people don't realize it. Where I believe One Small Town sits is a beautiful melting pot of where the religious people realize that they're actually spiritual, and vice versa. And this one that actually in many ways was one of the reasons I started this in 2010, when I had my absolute epiphany. Maybe I should leave that for another time. The moment the penny dropped for me, and I realized that the rest of my life is going to be involved in the One Small Town initiative, was a deeply spiritual, life-changing experience for me that I will never ever forget. I will share that with you at some stage. Let me know if you want me to share it with you, because it is quite personal. But sometimes it's important to share these personal things to show that we are human. I see some of the things that are written about me on the social media, and it's quite funny. It's quite funny. I feel deep sadness for those people that share that kind of stuff, but we carry on, and here we are. So the benefits, the people and the members must feel that they're benefiting from it. And the first benefits are a feeling of satisfaction, that you're doing something worthwhile that makes you feel good. You can't describe it. You can't explain it to somebody. People will look at you picking up rubbish in the street and helping orphans, or cooking in the community kitchen, or whatever it is, and they don't understand because they're not thinking like you. But to you, it is the most satisfying thing that you can do, that you now have the opportunity to be able to do that within a construct of unity and other members of your community feeling the same that you do, and becoming members of One Small Town, and starting to contribute and working together to get these silly, stupid community things off the ground that is such a nuisance to so many of us, and yet they bring so much joy and pleasure to so many others in our society. And that's the beautiful thing. And that's what I discovered over many, many years of doing this. As I said, over 35 countries and hundreds and hundreds of cities around the world, doing the One Small Town and Ubuntu workshops. I discovered that every single one of us has a special calling. Each one of us has special, unique talents that we want to fulfill, that we want to do. And only then do we really feel fulfilled. And especially when we find an opportunity to do what we love to do, that first feeds your soul and makes you feel that you're actually living your life's purpose. You're not just a machine that gets up in the morning and goes to work and does some menial job to earn money so you can pay your bills, and then at the end of the month comes and the wheel spins around and around, and we get trapped in this rat race of waking up, working, earning money, paying our bills, and then we never ever have the chance to fulfill our dreams. Many of them are childhood dreams. The One Small Town platform, the One Small Town environment gives each and every one of us that opportunity to take those dreams, the things that you would love to do. It could be a hobby, it could be a gift, it could be anything that you're passionate about. It provides the opportunity for any one of us to present that to our community and start doing that, because then it benefits you and it benefits the community. And that's one of the main game changers that is so contrary to the capitalist way of thinking. And if you read the Ubuntu book, there's actually an interesting chapter in the Ubuntu book where I talk about the minority rule principle. And that's a mind bender for many people. The minority rule principle. What do you mean? Like, a few people are going to tell the majority what to do. No. See, that's already a democratic, capitalist majority rule thinking. That's not at all. But that's the world that we're trapped in. Now, I'm digressing completely off here because it's important while I'm on the subject, because I may not remember it later. So the minority rule principle is one of the most beautiful things that we can embrace. But it can only exist in a world where we have eliminated hostile competition and embraced collaboration and cooperation for the greater good and the benefit for our community, so that we don't create competing businesses that compete against each other. We create one business that's a community-owned business, and that business is treated and made the most successful business that we possibly can. and that's why we benefit from it, because it's our business and we make it work and benefit us. So in this environment, the minority rule principle will help and support every minority group, whether it's the guys that look after the butterflies, or the cleanliness of the air, or the cleanliness of the water, or the wildflowers in the fields, or the bees, any minority group that is often marginalized and has no longer receives funding from governments or funding institutions, and all of these very important things that are done by these minority specialist groups, that in many cases, in fact, most cases, this is where you find the true experts who are passionate about their specific subject. Whether it's dealing with the levels of poisons in the soil, or etc., and anything to do with all the different hobbies and agriculture and healthcare and so forth. There are these minority groups that specialize in these very unique areas. Well, each one of these minority groups will get as much love, support, and attention and funding from within our community, so that whatever their speciality is will benefit our community. And many of these specialities have now been stopped, and we no longer get the benefits of these groups that used to be funded. It's a tragic situation. So when I say minority rule principle, means that every single minority group of people that have a special interest that they need to do to help the community will be funded, and we as a community must ensure that we help and support these minority groups, so that collectively they create an incredible environment for us to thrive, survive, thrive, and prosper collectively, because we're all supporting each other in the diverse things that we do. Right. I feel like we're getting on a roll now, getting into the deeper philosophical and real benefits of one small town. So let's continue with a list of benefits. So first of all, the benefits are the members must contribute. Remember, you need to contribute a minimum of 3 hours a week or 12 hours a month to your community projects, businesses, whatever it is that you sign up to, or whatever it is that your ambassador or the project managers have asked you to do. And we have the technology and the systems. Again, I guess we'll talk about that. How does that work? How do you know where to go, where to contribute your 3 hours? It's a very important subject. I must make a note of that, so we cover that maybe next week. We'll go through that. These are critical questions, I guess, that people have. We need to go through that. So the benefits: you need to contribute your 3 hours a week to become a compliant member. If you don't contribute those 3 hours a week or 12 hours a month, it doesn't have to be in 3 hours. You can do 6 hours at a time, or 9 hours at a time, or 5 hours and 5 hours and 2 hours, whatever. The system is set up that it calculates your contribution cumulatively. So it's not rigid. We made it very flexible. So you can contribute an hour here, and suddenly you might have to run off somewhere. So you're not going to lose that hour. You can come back the next day or next week and then contribute 5 or 6 hours if the opportunity allows you to do that. Again, this is all flexible. The field is fluid. You will know when you're in that situation, and the people that manage those businesses and request help from the community will require certain help for specific periods of time. So this is all worked into the platform. That's why the platform has taken so many hours and hours of coding and programming to make it so incredibly powerful. So benefits, obviously now you already know that for every 3 hours you contribute, you earn, or you get 1 Infinity token, which is really, it's the proof that you've contributed 3 hours to your community. So we don't call it we don't call it a payment, because it's not a payment. It's proof that you've contributed 3 hours, contributed 3 hours to your community. But that token, think of it as a punch card. Like, in essence, we could have done it with punch cards, and each punch card could have become a physical thing that became an object of value, like a note, really. But now we're doing it with community tokens. It's the same kind of thing, right? So very different from cryptocurrency. Community, private membership, community token, not traded on open stock exchanges and markets. I must just stress that again. just in case people get confused. Okay. And then obviously the tokens that you can then use to share, to trade, exchange anywhere which you want. Plus, this, as soon as the One Small Town store comes online, and we have the funds start stocking that store, and we have our own projects and own businesses and farms and lands growing stuff that'll fill the store up, you'll be able then to go and use your tokens in that store. All right. At the same time, we have the bundle of goods, the basket of goods. So a portion of the things that we do and we create and manufacture and the food we grow, a portion of that will be allocated to share with our community. And you, every month, as a compliant member, will be able to get your basket of goods. So there's a whole system. Again, this is all written out in the white paper, the white paper, and you can read up more about that there again. But we can come back and we'll talk in more detail about that. But this is still something that's evolving, because we haven't got there yet. We know that we want to do that, and I guess by the time we get there, we'll figure out a way how to best divvy this up, divide it up, and so forth. But I can tell you, one of the most complex problems that we faced, and this is a legalese, capitalist, corporate structure problem, is like when we start growing food on a commercial scale and we're growing food to export and to sell, it's not easy to say, well, we're going to take a portion of the food and distribute that to our people, because now we break in the capitalist way of doing accounting and calculating return on investment and profits and all that. So we've had to find a way to blend those two together, which we did. We found a way of doing that, and I'll go through that separately, just so everybody's very, very clear on this. So the benefits, so it's the tokens, the benefits from the One Small Town store that you're going to get, share and exchange your tokens, and the profit share from the businesses. So all the businesses that we start in our community, we try and make as much profit as we can. And keep in mind that because we are the labor force, we are the free labor force. We contribute our time by choice. We choose to contribute our time. So that cuts out thousands and thousands of hours of labor. Let me just remind you again, in a town of 10,000 people, if each one of us contributes 3 hours a week, that means we have 30,000 hours of free labor every week, 120,000 hours of free labor every month that we can do something with. So we will decide with the ambassador and the town project managers and the people that are planning the projects, together with the community, can decide what businesses we're going to start, what businesses we're going to, once we have a business plan, we raise the funding, we create the investor token, and we launch the business based on the business plan. This is not some willy-nilly shooting from the hip. This is all structured and planned, and that's why the One Small Town platform is such a critical and important integral management tool to allow us to do that without anyone running away with the money or cheating or hiding money or anything like that. So every member in every One Small Town has access to your town's businesses. You can log in and check the success and the health status of each and every business that we've started as a community. You can see the cost, the running cost, the operating cost, and so forth. So the benefits, like I said, are that we're cutting our labor cost. It means our profit margins are going to go up. So not only is that a benefit to us as a community, because we're going to be distributing more profits every month to our members, this is also probably one of the most attractive benefits to investors. Investors that like the One Small Town initiative and say, okay, what's in it for me? What's in it for you is that, first of all, now I'm jumping a bit with benefits from members to benefits to investors. But the benefits to investors are, first of all, you're going into partnership with an entire community. You're not going into partnership with some schmuck that might, stab you in the back and run off with your money or try and squeeze you out with some legal contract BS. You're going into a very open, transparent partnership and investment into an entire community. Now, this is where I believe the conscious millionaires and the conscious billionaires are going to catch on. And once they catch on, I believe there's going to be a stampede to find the next small town to invest in. So that the next billionaire is going to say, hold on, that town is mine. I'm going to put $200 million in there, or $50 million in here, or whatever it is. I'm going to fund all the foundational businesses in there so that I have a 30% stake in all those businesses. And in essence, I go into partnership with that small town and that community. Now, how that's going to unfold, I don't know, but we have rules and ways of doing this so that keep in mind that if an investor can only take or retain 30% of the profit share of those businesses, then that investor can never wag the dog, right? That tail can never wag the dog. The investor does it because it's somebody that loves the idea of one small town, and more conscious billionaires and millionaires are finding us and realizing that this is a wonderful thing to invest into their future, into their children's future, their family's future, because this is securing the world. In essence, every small town that launches in every country around the world is another stake in the ground that secures the future of our planet, secures the future of our communities, secures the future of our children and future civilizations. That's in essence what we're doing. Every small town is one of those notches that just strengthens the entire global community. So benefits to the benefits to the investors. So I don't have to go back to it because I see we've already done an hour. So I'm going to finish the benefits to the investors and benefits to members. And I'm going to finish with cornerstone businesses, and I think we'll be done for today. So benefits to the investors, you can see very clearly, and that's going to come. It's going to happen. And because it's so completely transparent, if I was a multimillionaire and had, $100 million I didn't know what to do with, instead of putting it on the stock markets where, they could crash, they could fluctuate, or into Bitcoin that could crash tomorrow, if you invest that into a small town and you know that you're funding cornerstone foundational businesses, whether it's healthcare, engineering, technology, food growing, food security, seed banks, etc. If you've got a diverse investment portfolio in a small town and you're a 30% partner in all of that, my goodness, what an incredible investment that is for you and your family and your children, creating this utopian, beautiful, Eden of a place. It's like the Garden of Eden that you're helping to create for your family and your children's future. That's how I see it for the conscious millionaires and investors. So, and then obviously the profits from those businesses. You're actively helping for that community to bounce back. So, and so back to benefits to the members. So it's the tokens, it's all the benefits from the tokens, the food kitchen. Remember that if you contribute 3 hours a day, if you've got nothing and you wake up in the morning, you've got nothing and you don't know what to do with yourself, now you can go and contribute 3 hours towards one of the One Small Town projects that we're busy with. That gives you an additional token, and you go and get a plate of food in the community kitchen. So now you suddenly got a bit of self-respect. You've got a purpose in life. So the benefit to members in the countries that are really, really poor, and the people in the small towns, there's 50, 60, 70% unemployment. The people have nothing to do. We've literally turned the success and the prospects of our town on its head. Now we not only have a labor force of few thousand people every day that have nothing else to do, now we can fix our town, do things that we could not do before because we couldn't afford the labor. We're doing it ourselves, and yet we're taking care of our members with our tokens and our food kitchens and the end of the month basket of goods that they'll benefit, and the profit share from all the businesses. So it's a game changer on every level. And if I haven't said it yet, I'll say it many times. In one small town, everybody benefits. Everybody. Doesn't matter how you spin this thing, from the investors to the poorest of the poor, to the rich people in the community, to everybody benefits, because whatever we do keeps uplifting and improving the life and the lifestyle and our security in our own communities. So those are the benefits for members and investors. And then I was going to talk about ambassadors and how important it is for the choice of ambassadors. I'm going to leave this for next week. But right now we are on a drive to find ambassadors, because that was one of the weak links. And I said this last week. This is one of the weak areas that we really had a baptism by fire, learning the hard way, trying to figure out how best to start this, and we've learned so much. And I believe we now have a really solid way of profiling the people to see if they are the right kind of person, if they have what it takes, if they have the right experience and track record and so forth. Because the ambassador role is a very, very important role in the One Small Town initiative, in our current existence, in our growth and our expansion around the world through all the countries. Without a strong ambassador that is totally and utterly resonates and understands the fundamentals of One Small Town, it can't happen. It will constantly fail. It's like having a CEO running a company that doesn't know what he's supposed to do. Okay, you can't have that, right? So you can understand that's a very clear analogy, because in each of our small towns, we're going to start more and more businesses. We might end up with 100 or 200 businesses in a small town. And the ambassador is, in essence, looking after the success and the health and the profitability and the success of all these businesses. So the ambassador needs to have like a CEO mindset that can manage large numbers of people, can manage different departments, different products, different sections, different people, from researchers to inventors to healthcare people to farmers to et cetera, and deal with people and make sure that the ambassador surrounds him or herself with people that know how to deliver. And so the ambassador needs management skills and a big vision of where this One Small Town in my town is going. What are we going to do with this? What are the real opportunities? And this is where the community, where the young Elon Musks of your community will come out. You'll find the most incredible talent that you cannot imagine once you start opening the doors and opportunities to the people in your community. And once again, I speak from personal experience. Your mind will be blown once you start inviting and opening people to join your initiative with ideas for businesses and innovation and et cetera, you will not believe. And it is one of the most exciting things that I remember I went through when I launched it in my community, as I mentioned, and it did very well for about 2 years until the municipality shut us down in a malicious move. And also I ran out of money because I was using my own funds, but I'm not going to repeat that. So the ambassadors, and we're going to come back. But in the meantime, if you believe that you want to be an ambassador, we need country ambassadors and we need town ambassadors. Very important. There's a distinction between the two. So the country ambassador is like the person that is going to manage all the activities of One Small Town in that particular country, which means it's going to deal with all the legalese, like how do you register the One Small Town initiative in that country. So we have now figured it out for South Africa, for the USA, for the UK. After about a year of wrestling with it, we finally figured out what are the right and the correct legal structures, the corporate legal structures, to set this up so that we can work as a non-profit organization, because that's what we are. We're a humanitarian non-profit, and yet have for-profit businesses that generate funds and money in the small towns that help to fund the various non-profit One Small Town offices. So this was an interesting challenge and a complex challenge that took us more than a year, almost 2 years. Actually, it was more than 2 years to figure it out. So we have now finally figured it out, so we can now go and launch successfully in the USA, launch successfully in the UK, and we're looking forward to the other countries. So obviously, we are focusing on the English-speaking countries because everything we do is in English right now, and it's not easy to translate everything into other languages because it's a lot of work, a lot of translation. So we really are focusing on English-speaking countries to make this a success, launch, a few dozen, a few hundred small towns. By then, things will be running smoothly, and we can appoint the right translators and right people into those positions to do the translations on the platform, on the websites, all the videos, and so forth. You can imagine that's a huge job to do it in so many other languages. So that is where was I? That's where we are. The ambassadors. That's right. The country ambassadors and the town ambassadors. Now, the town ambassadors, I would like to please ask you, go online, read how to become an ambassador. Okay, go to onesmalltown.org, click on how to get involved, and you'll see how to become an ambassador. Read that entire thing really, really carefully. And if you think you have what it takes, if you'd like to become a country ambassador in another country, another English-speaking country, so it could be the Caribbean, it could be Australia, New Zealand. Keep in mind, we had ambassadors in all those countries. Unfortunately, those ambassadors fell by the wayside once we got to a certain stage, and they realized this was a bit too rich for them. And some of them suddenly felt that we're going in a different direction than they thought we were going. And this happens. And some of them, it just became too busy. They didn't have enough time, because this is still a volunteer job right now. At the moment, our ambassadors are not getting paid because there's just not enough money. So all the ambassadors right now are doing it out of love because they can. So they need to be reasonably financially secure, financially independent, so they can have this time to do it. There will come a time where all the ambassadors will be rewarded from the businesses that they launch to pay their office and pay their salaries, or from the One Small Town head office in that country, from the various technologies that we're going to launch and generate funds from. So we're getting to that stage. And I'll share more information as that comes online. So we're now 1 hour and 12 minutes into this. Cornerstone businesses and cornerstone projects. I think let's make that the last topic for today. I think we pretty much covered everything. I think we could cover the investor tokens as well. All right, cornerstone businesses and cornerstone projects. This is really important. This is the term that we are using for businesses that the ambassador has earmarked that could be a short-term, quick turnaround, profit-making business that can generate profits in a very short period, and for those profits to be used to fund and help sustain the One Small Town office in that town. So this is cornerstone businesses or cornerstone projects. They help fund the One Small Town office with the ambassador and the business planners, the IT, the accountants, the PR people, and the advisors and so forth. So that's what funds the cornerstone businesses are set up as quickly as possible to generate funds to fund the One Small Town office. Hopefully, we as the One Small Town International office will soon be in a position to be able to fund that from our side with the technology that we're implementing. But that's not available yet. That's going to slowly come online, I believe, from about March 2025. So that's a very exciting time. So we don't have to stop. We don't have to wait for those funds to arrive. Our ambassadors can sign up. We can appoint a country ambassador. We can appoint town ambassadors if they apply and they follow and they pass the test, the scrutiny, the profiling, and what's the word I'm looking for? I'm running out of words. Once they pass and they fill in all the forms and they turn out to be the right profile with all the necessary skills to be appointed as an ambassador, then they need to come up with a 12-month plan. And because we're running out of time now, I think next week we start with the ambassador and what is truly, when you get appointed as an ambassador, what do you have to do? But you can find out for yourself right now. Go on our website and read how to become an ambassador, and it'll give you great detail about what's expected from you. So the cornerstone businesses, I trust I've explained that those are businesses that we start right up front to help fund the office. And then once the office is stable, then anything is possible, right? Then we can literally do anything we choose, because then we can fund the kitchen, the community kitchen, the One Small Town store, the security company, and the sports, arts, and culture. Those are the other four, what I call mandatory. I hate that word mandatory. I need to come up with a different name to mandatory, but one doesn't come to mind at the moment. It's mandatory because we believe that with those things in place. If you take care of your community kitchen, the One Small Town store, the security company, and the sports, arts, and culture, and you have a budget for that, and you can manage those, there's no chance in hell that you're going to fail with the One Small Town initiative. The moment you've got those foundations in place, you will have a success. And this is where I speak from a hardcore experience. With virtually no money, doing those in my community, the kitchen, the community hall, the store in a way, food kitchen, our security, because we protected the things we had with our own people, and the sports, arts, and culture. I tell you what, it was like, just the moment people are set free to play sport and to participate in sports, arts, culture, theater, and musical performances and all that, it is like you ignite the creative spirit. It's like you reignite the soul of that community. You reawaken the soul of our small towns, which in most countries, as you probably know, are under severe pressure, and people are being spiritually suffocated because there is no expression. There are no places where we can go and express our creative talents, whether it's sporting talents or artistic talents, whether it's being a painter or an artist or a performer or whatever. So the mandatory projects, if you come up with a better word for mandatory, please email me. So I use a different word than mandatory. The 4 suggested projects that we want each ambassador to start. And then finally, the investor tokens. Let's finish on that. So every business that you as an ambassador and your management team and your community choose to start, that business has to have a business plan. That business plan gets uploaded onto the platform. That business plan is then connected. It's obviously evaluated. If it's a good business plan, if it passes a certain scrutiny and it shows a good enough return on investment and profit, then it's deemed to be a good business plan. Otherwise, it's just a community project. If it loses money, then it's clearly a bad business plan, and the platform won't allow you to do that. We've built these mechanisms in there. So based on what you put in, it'll tell you this is a terrible idea. Don't do this. You're going to lose money. Remember, not everyone is good at writing business plans. So we're helping people and communities and ambassadors and your business planners and so forth to come up with ideas, put it in, and a sort of first tier check if you think this is a good idea. And the system tells you this is a great idea. You should proceed to a business plan with that. Oh, this is a really bad idea. Don't do this. Okay, don't do it. And so we've built this in. This is in the platform already. You'll be guided as the ambassador and your IT support. Every ambassador must have an IT geek to help support the ambassador, because not all ambassadors will be IT savvy and be able to work the platform and navigate the platform. So you will need an IT support member of your management team that'll deal with all that stuff. And these business plans get loaded onto the platform. That business plan is connected to a project management system, which is connected to your accounting system, which is connected to your bank account that you connect in your town. And there you go, the entire loop. And so when the investor invests money, they can then see that the money is being released based on the business plan, the project management, and the release of funds every month into the growth and the development of that project. So it's totally transparent. And this is why I believe the investors are going to love this. They're going to feel like they're part of turning small towns into vibrant, successful communities, and they're going to feel proud that they're responsible for that. And this is just a win-win for everybody, right? So, investor tokens. So each one of these businesses that we load, this is the funding mechanism that we've created. Once there is a business plan for it and we know what the required funding is to make it a success based on the business plan and the projected returns and so forth, we then take that and we turn that business into an investor token. So let's say we've got a dairy, we've got a Smithville Dairy that we want to start. So we'll create, and we need $1 million to launch the dairy successfully. And it's a 2-year plan. We know that within 2 years, we're going to start making good profits, good returns. So this business plan is visible for everyone to see on our platform. And then the investors, people that want to invest, will be able to buy the token. So if we need $1 million, we then issue 1 million tokens at $1 each. And those tokens will be called Smithville Dairy Token. Right. But what we've learned now is that we can't launch it as an investment opportunity, because the moment you use the word investment, the SEC and all the financial bodies and watchdogs are on your back, breathing down your throat. And that became a big no-no and a red flag. And we realized that we can't do that, because we're going to get into a tremendous amount of trouble. And we're a humanitarian bloody group that want to help towns and communities. The last thing we want to do is now start registering every business, because we now want to invite investors, having to register every business with the SEC because it has a component of investment in it. And that's what you'll know if you're into investments, that the SEC is highly, and that all the regulatory bodies are highly involved in your investment offerings. So we've created something completely different. There are very simple way, and that is using crowdfunding. And crowdfunding is a very well accepted form of funding around the world. Nobody questions crowdfunding. It's become one of the most successful ways for people to crowdfund their businesses, their ideas, their dreams, whatever. I mean, people crowdfund the craziest things. I want to travel around the world, crowdfund my trip around the world, and people raise funds to help them travel around the world. So can you imagine, once we start raising these tokens for each of our small businesses, and from small amounts to large amounts, right? And each one of those tokens is a token that you receive as having contributed through crowdfunding. You receive the number of tokens that is reflected based on the amount that you bought. So you're not buying shares, you're not investing, you're crowdfunding. But the benefit of the crowdfunding is that you receive these tokens in your digital wallet. Remember, you have to be a member. You can't just crowdfund. You first need to become a member of One Small Town, which means you have a digital wallet. It means you go into your digital wallet and you buy the token through your digital wallet. So it's not as we make this available on some trading platform out there somewhere. No, it's part of our membership. Once again, private membership structure, and that protects us against many, many onslaughts. So each one of these businesses that we want to launch will have a token. Those who want to fund that business will fund it with whatever they can afford, and in return they get their token connected to that. And there's a limited number of tokens. And then based on the number of tokens you have, 30% of the profits of that particular business will be distributed to all the crowdfunders that supported that specific business, who crowdfunded that business. I trust this makes sense to you. So that's how we created an alternative way to help crowdfund our businesses without getting involved into deep legalese and contracts and SEC and all that stuff, which we're actually trying to move away from. We're trying to decentralize. We're trying to free ourselves from the red tape and bureaucracy and all the corporate BS that destroys our lives in most instances. So you can imagine a few years down the road, there are going to be thousands and thousands of these crowdfunding tokens that you will have. Some of these businesses are going to grow. They're going to grow into big businesses that make big profits. That means the distribution of the profits from those businesses are going to be a lot bigger than they were in the beginning. It means the value of that token is going to grow. So it's literally like a private stock market of our own private membership businesses and the tokens that were earned by the funders and the donors towards those businesses. So let this sink in, and I think the crypto heads out there will realize how powerful this is. So, 5 years from now, we might find that the One Small Town trading platform might be bigger than the whatever. You know where I'm going with this. I don't even want to say it because, it's a very exciting prospect. And I believe we're going to get there because we're building something beautiful and magical that's never been done before. And we're doing it with the right intention, with love in our hearts, with gratitude that I've been given the opportunity and the gift from God to be able to do this. And all those that have joined me over the years, we're building a beautiful team of highly conscious, very, very talented people around the world. And our team is growing and growing in leaps and bounds. And on this note, I think I'm going to end off here today. Thank you to all those that are supporting One Small Town. If you're not yet a patron, please become a patron. Go to One Small Town and sign up as a patron. We still need financial help critically in these last 2 or 3 months. Well, let's say 6 months. For the next 6 months, we're still going to need a lot of financial support while we're getting our technology off the ground, while that starts to generate profits for us. We need to keep ourselves alive and keep things going. So sign up as a member, buy a bunch of Infinity tokens. That's probably the best way to invest because you're actually getting something in return. Or if you just want to become a patron and because you're benevolent and you love what we do, go and do that as well. So also keep in mind that you can buy a token subscription for 12 months, which means you can buy the token at the current price so that when the price increases, as the members sign up and the algorithm keeps pushing the price up. If you sign up for 12 months, you pay that particular price for 12 months, right? And then so you actually benefit from it. So that's it. I've covered pretty much everything. My goodness, I did cover every point. I'm more than impressed with myself right now. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Until next Wednesday, it's Michael Tellinger. Go out there, tell everybody about One Small Town, sign up as a member, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Okay, until then, ciao for now.